Speaking with a former governor of Zamfara State, Senator Sani Ahmed Yerima, on the proposals for negotiation with repentant bandits. He made the proposal to President Tinubu. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Tonight, our attention will be on a few things, ranging from politics to security to issues in Zamfara, banditry. Those who think that if you negotiate with repentant bandits, maybe the killings of Nigerians in the northwest region of the country might be that. That is what my guest believes, and he told President Bola Tinubu himself and some other governors of the class of 1999 are already coming together. What are they talking about? Well, don't forget that the president is a member of that class of 1999 governors. What are their agenda? What is their plan? We'll be hearing tonight on the program, so stick around with me, everyone. Because first and foremost, let's check out the political roundup stories.
The Supreme Court has overturned the conviction of Senator Peter Nwaoboshi and his sentencing to 7 years imprisonment for offences of fraud and money laundering. The Apex Court ordered the immediate release of Nwaoboshi, who represented Delta North in the 9th Senate. Delivering judgment, the court also freed the two companies, Golden Touch Construction Project Limited and Suiming Electrical Limited, tried with him on a 2-count charge brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in a split decision of 4-1. The Supreme Court set aside the July 1st, 2022 judgment of the Court of Appeal Lagos, which had reversed their discharge and acquittal by a federal high court in Lagos. The Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal brought before it by Ike Agwarianove, seeking the disqualification of the Delta State Governor, Mr. Sheriff Oborevori, for lacking in merit. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim, the court held that the appellant failed to prove his case beyond reasonable doubt. According to Justice Agim, the mere fact that there were differentials in names does not amount to falsity. He added that an error in the date of birth in a certificate, not shown evidently to emanate from the respondent, cannot amount to falsity. In dismissing the appeal for lacking in merit, the court ordered Ike to pay 3 million naira each as cost to the People's Democratic Party and the governor. The Delta Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal sitting in Asaba has dismissed the petition of the Labour Party and its candidate, Ken Pella, describing it as premature. Ruling on the petition, Chairman of the panel, Justice C.H. Ahuchogo, said the petition was incompetent and a flagrant violation of paragraph 18, subsection 1 of the 4th schedule of the Electoral Act 2022. Mr. Ken Pella is challenging the outcome of the March 18, 2023 governorship election in the state and seeking leave of the tribunal to upturn the declaration of Sheriff Oborevori as Delta governor. The People's Democratic Party is raising an alarm over the continuous detention of 4 out of the 23 suspended council chairmen, including an 82-year-old octogenarian, Mrs. Veronica Gajir, who's the chairman of Ushongo local government area, since Monday, July the 3rd, by the Department of State Services, allegedly on the orders of Governor Hyacinth Alia. At a press briefing in Makurdi, the state capital, the state publicity secretary of the opposition party in Benue State, Mr. Bemga Iyotim, called on the governor and the DSS to charge the 4 men to court if they have any case to answer, or release them as their continuous detention is unlawful. However, Governor Hyacinth Alia, through his chief press secretary, Mr. Teso Kula, denies any knowledge of the arrest 5 days later, noting that he has no hand in the ordeal. An Abuja-based lawyer, Mr. Pelumi Olajengbesi, is asking the federal government to ensure quick implementation of judgments from the various courts for the sake of justice. Mr. Olajengbesi is saddened that despite judgments in favor of some Nigerians against some government agencies, they do not get compensations. Addressing a press conference on the state of the nation in Abuja, the legal practitioner, who is also counsel to pro-Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Igboho, says he will return to Nigeria soon. He also asked President Tinubu to take a different approach in addressing freedom fighters' demands to prevent likely threats to security and the breakdown of law and order.
Expecting President Buhari, and I think President Bola Tinubu, I think this will give answers to Sunday Igboho's case.
A day after announcing the signing of some tax policy decisions, President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of a presidential committee on fiscal policy and tax reforms. The presidency says this is in consonance with Tinubu's promise to remove all barriers impeding business growth in Nigeria. In a statement by the president's special advisor on special duties, Mr. Dele Alake, the committee set up by the president will be chaired by a fiscal policy partner and Africa tax leader at the PricewaterhouseCoopers, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, who was our guest on the program yesterday. It will comprise experts from both the private and public sectors and have responsibility for the various aspects of tax law reform, fiscal policy design and coordination, harmonization of taxes and revenue administration. Well, earlier in the week, a former governor of Zamfara State, Senator Yerima, visited the State House and suggested to President Bola Tinubu that he should first engage the use of dialogue with bandits rather than military force as the best way to address the insecurity challenge to resolve insurgency in the country. Well, some of you who may not remember exactly what he said, let me remind you what he said to journalists after he had a meeting with President Tinubu. Take a listen to former Governor Yerima.
The issue of Zamfara, like you rightly said, I'm now a father in Zamfara. And even Mr. President, in my interaction this morning, or this afternoon, has requested me to put my best to ensure that there is stability in the state. And that is what we are doing already. And by the grace of God, we will come together and you see that all the crises that are going on will be over. And I keep on saying that the best way to go about these bandits, handling the issue of bandits, should be introduction of dialogue first. But as I said, if that fails, then the government will go all out to eliminate them. Why I say we should start discussing with them is to avoid the collateral damages that may come up if intensive and extensive military operations are directed. But that should be the last option. You look at World War I and World War II. The wars were not ended in the battlefield. They were ended on the table. They had to negotiate. So negotiation is part of governance. Once you negotiate with your enemies, you will end up pleasing them. Some of them, like I said, the reason for doing it are two: ignorance and poverty. So what you need to do is to identify what you can do to salvage these people and make sure that they are reintegrated back into society.
Well, there are those who agree with Senator Yerima and there are those who oppose Senator Yerima's proposal to President Tinubu. One of the groups who are not happy with Senator Yerima's proposal is the Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, which has faulted the former governor of Zamfara State, Yerima, for advising the federal government to negotiate and grant amnesty to bandits that have been terrorizing residents in the northwest zones of the country. In an exclusive interview with Channels Television, the president of the forum, Mr. Yerima Shatima, is also asking President Bola Tinubu not to listen to such advice, but should unleash military action against the criminal elements in order to bring lasting peace and security to the northwest zone. Take a listen to him.
The case of the bandits here in the northwest, what are they bringing to the table? So those are two different games. So he couldn't have cited that as an example. Those are two different cases. I remember vividly, take it or leave it, El-Rufai came up with an idea that they need to. It's not just only an issue of only Kaduna facing the issue. Some of them will have to come together and agree and design a policy that all of them will have to agree to build synergy so that this whole fight against insurgency can be all holistically. Some of the governors do not share that sentiment with him. Some of them believe that his approaches are not right.
Well, those are the views. Well, we understand that a class of 1999 governors, those governors who came into power in the different states of the Federation since when Nigeria returned to democracy in 1999, have been meeting. One of them is President Tinubu. He's not been meeting with them, though. But some of those who you know, former Governor Niya Adebayo, former Governor Oji Kalu, former Governor Yerima, and a host of others, they've been meeting. And what exactly is the agenda? Tonight, my guest is one of the governors of the class of 1999. He was the person who visited President Tinubu and proposed that there should be a carrot approach in ending this issue of banditry in Zamfara and in the northwestern region of the country. Our former governor of Zamfara State, Senator Ahmed Sani Yerima. Thank you so much indeed, Senator, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. There are those who believe that you're a very controversial person. Yeah. A lot of your views are being termed as controversial. And those who will not forget easily your views on issue of Sharia, your views on issue of marriage, which heated the politics when you were in Senate and when you were governor. And perhaps I should touch on those, for example, for those who are perhaps who hear you now, who see you on television now, and are hoping to hear you. For example, this is what former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was the governor, was president when you were governor, he said one of the problems that he had was Sharia, the controversy around Sharia, and he says that only very occasionally did that implementation deal with criminal issues when necessary. And he said, as a country, quoting former President Olusegun Obasanjo in a book that was released some years ago, he said, as a country, we shared almost 50-50 between Muslims and Christians. Sharia has always been part of the legal and judicial system in the North. He said, the second big challenge under my presidential watch was the issue of Sharia law. And he said that this was more for self-serving purposes. And he accused you, he mentioned you, that this was about self-serving. How would you react to this?
Well, that is his opinion. You see, he didn't agree with me from the beginning. I tried to explain to him that this program is perceived because my people wanted it. And I assured him right from the beginning that it will only be for Muslims, that the Christians in my state have nothing to do with it. And in the end, that is what happened. The Christians in Zamfara, instead of them leaving the state, more Christians, including NYSC and other people, were going to the state. The law was very clear. Only somebody who read the law, you see, we said it is only cases between government and the Muslims, or Muslims and Muslims, will go to Sharia court. And in the event there is a crisis between Muslim and Christian, it is the Christian that will decide whether to go to Sharia court or to go to common law court, that's magistrate court or high court. In the event that he chose to go to Sharia court, he has to put it in writing. The law provides for that Christian Association of Nigeria has to witness that this case has, the person decided by his own, so that in the case when he loses, he will not say he was forced to go there, and if he wins, he'll be very happy. So the case, people who are talking, including President Obasanjo, did not even have time to go through the laws that we passed in Zamfara State.
But, you, looking back over 20 years now after the operation, Sharia law has been in operation for a long time in Nigeria. It's been part of our body of laws.
Yeah.
So there are those who believe that you are an extremist, that you are a religious fanatic, a religious extremist, and you introduce that to divide Nigerians more.
You see, my religion does not even allow extremism. There's nothing like that. You have to be somebody who will live on your own side of religion and accommodate and allow others to worship their own religion.
You wanted Zamfara to be a Sharia state in entirety.
See, that's why I said...
That's one of your plans.
You see, like you said, right from 1960s, before independence, after independence, Sharia has been part of Nigeria's law. The only thing that was not there was criminal aspect of it. And you cannot have a law that is just for, excluding criminal aspect of law in it. It's not going to be complete. And the Constitution allows me to upgrade it and make sure that the criminal aspect was also incorporated in the law, and that's what I did. The president wanted to challenge me, and he didn't start with me. It was only after Governor Shekaro became governor that he took one of my law, that is the Hizbah law, to court, and it went up to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court decided that It is part of our constitution. The law was constitutional. So I didn't do anything outside Nigerian constitution.
Are you a religious fanatic?
I am not.
Are you an extremist?
I am not.
Do you have extreme thoughts and extreme views
Well,
about your religion?
Go to my house. One of my staff, many of my staffs are Christian. An extremist will not accommodate any other religion. My friends, the governors, like you said, 1999, we're all together. We've been together for 20 years, over 20 years.
So, I mean, looking back 20 years after,
yeah,
are you happy with what you did in Zamfara?
Very, very happy. The law is going
in the area
on.
of Sharia law.
The law is being implemented till today, and there's no crisis between Muslim and Christian. The Christians are happy that they now have, before my law, you remember in Kaduna State, any slight crisis, any small crisis, ethnic crisis, commercial, social crisis between Muslim and Christian will turn into religious crisis. But the Christian, the Muslim will say, we need Sharia law. The Christian will say, no, we don't, you cannot have Sharia law. But now all Muslims believe they have Sharia law. So at least that is a big, big achievement on my part.
I mean, you perhaps hear what your people in Zamfara say about you. Yeah. They say you are the guy who is known for stomach infrastructure. You did a lot of that. I mean, that your people perhaps accepted the stomach infrastructure other than more of real infrastructure on the ground.
Well, you see, in economics, there are two types of development. You have basic need approach to development. Basic need approach describe the process of human capital development. And what happens to poverty, what is happening to unemployment. But if you just go for, infrastructural development, ignoring human beings, that is not even a good approach.
So you don't regret embracing the stomach infrastructure?
It's not only stomach. You see, in my state, when I became governor, for example, I want to give you the power sector. Only 4 local governments were electrified before I became the governor. And before I left office, all the villages, all the 14 local governments and their villages were electrified. So while we were doing the basic needs approach development, we also did not, we continue to develop our basic infrastructure, especially the power sector, educational infrastructure. We have more schools before I left, and school enrollment also, grew more than 1,000%.
So you don't regret, you don't have any regrets whatsoever about Sharia law?
No, I'm very happy about it. And in fact, even all the Muslims in Nigeria, not only in the north, even in the south, are happy that Sharia has come to stay in Nigeria.
If you have your way, what would you do differently?
Maybe to sensitize more Christians to know more about it, because what I didn't do more was to, enlighten the Christian, especially in the other part of the country. But Christians in the north, a lot of them are aware and conversant with the Sharia law that I implemented.
You think it was the best in a country, in a secular state like Nigeria?
It brought peace and stability between Muslims and Christians and even animists.
You like controversy, Senator Yerima, don't you? When you came up with the issue of getting married to the Egyptian young lady, young girl at 13.
No, it was not that. She was not that.
She was 15?
Yes.
Or how old was she?
Around that age, 14, 15.
Okay. So looking back now, did you regret it?
No, because you see, people don't understand. What you do illegally, what is outside the law, is something that will make you to regret. But any action you have taken within the law of your land, your country, how will you regret?
Which law backs marrying less than 15-year-old?
Nigerian law, the Sharia law.
Can you tell us which one?
The Sharia law, Constitution
what
of
does
Nigeria.
the Sharia law say about?
That once a girl is of age, she can get married. It's not about 18 years, 20 years. There's nothing, about the age of the person. So it's talking of age, and definition of a girl that is of age is clearly stipulated under the Sharia law. Once you see a girl that is of age and the parents consent, you just marry her. And the Constitution of Nigeria recognizes that law.
Would you allow your daughter to get married at that age?
Of course, they married, many of them. And they are still living with their family. There was no problem. And I have, as I'm talking to you now, about 20 grandchildren.
that are married of at that age?
No, 20 grandchildren from those children, yes.
That are married at that age?
Yeah.
That you bothered about
16,
their
17.
education and development?
All of them are graduates.
What about their physiological development?
Fantastic. I told you they are graduates. In fact, now one of the daughters who married at 16 is doing her PhD in London.
You paid about $100,000 at the time for dowry.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's true, yes.
To the parent?
You see, whatever you have to do in marriage is clearly stipulated under the Sharia law. You can give as much as requested. You have to provide for a house for the girl. If you are marrying her, like from the condition the Egyptian government law, provides. So both the dowry is not dowry. All the things that are associated with the condition for the marriage are stipulated and were counted to arrive at that figure.
So you did everything
provision
right?
Of the house, provision of dowry, the dresses that she has to wear, everything, total.
And it was calculated as 100,000.
It was 50 million naira. You see, they are talking of dollars because I had somebody here, $100,000, you think is a very big money. At that time, it was just 50 million naira. And 50 million naira today cannot even get you married.
Did you hear what name you were being called at the time?
What name?
The man who marries of children.
Well, it's many names. When I remove the hand of a thief, they call me a butcher of the butcher of Zamfara. So many names can be called. So long as I did everything that I'm doing within the law, I don't care about anybody's.
You're familiar with the VAP Act now?
Which act?
The VAP Act, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, and what some other laws relating to young children.
Is passed by who?
It's a federal law. It's an act of the parliament.
Whatever act is passed at the National Assembly has to be domesticated by the state assemblies. And once they have not done that, it's no longer a law. Passenger tried to smuggle the Child Rights Act. He passed it at the National Assembly through some manipulations. But no, I don't think any state in the north domesticated it and passed it.
You think it was that Child Rights Act was about you?
You just wanted to solve the problem but it was unconstitutional. If that law is challenged at the Supreme Court, it will be.
You don't think a child has the right under the law to education?
Marriage cannot stop education. How many married women are in education now?
The woman you married at that age, is she very educated now?
Yes.
To what extent?
She's doing her master's degree now. I told you my own daughter, who was married at 16, is doing her PhD. That's 16, not 14. 16, 14 is the same thing. They are talking about 18. Because, these are issues that a lot of advocates think that is a deprivation of their fundamental rights as human beings. That is if you don't allow them to continue with their education. But marriage does not stop people from getting educated. Passenger at 84, he went to university to do his PhD. So age is not, a factor in education. And you're not bothered about the enjoyment of the child's quiet life as a child. That's youthful, that's childhood. You see, definition childhood. You remember your childhood days, don't you? Yes, definition of childhood, I said, in that form, is unconstitutional. The Constitution of Nigeria does not have anything to do with age. You just have to define who is a child, who is an adult. Let me take you to the issue of security, which you spoke to the president about. Some of your colleagues, you're meeting, but I'll come to that in a bit. Yeah. This advice, you heard what the Arewa youth president said. I heard him. He said that should not be the case. Because he didn't understand my position clearly. You see, for how many years has Nigeria been fighting this bandit? Throughout the 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari, the military has been fighting these bandits. But even just 2 days ago, one barrister was attacked in his village, in his house in Kwatarkosha, and was killed by the bandits. So if the military action option is the only option, we would have gone over this menace. But I am telling you that just like we did to Niger Delta militants, They were fighting, the military were up and they were doing their best, but the problem persisted until such a time when President Yar'Adua involved the issue of dialogue with them, negotiated with them. And today, most of them are either medical doctors, pilots. They have gone and acquired knowledge, education, because a lot of these people who are in criminality are doing so because they are either poor in terms of level of poverty, or they are illiterates. They don't have any level of education.
Would you equate the bandits with the agitators in
They are all
Niger Delta?
criminals. They were all doing criminality. They are killing people. The Niger Delta militants were killing even the foreigners, scaring them away from their land.
So you think the
Killing
bandits and the
Nigerians,
Niger Delta activists are the same?
any act of criminality is the same. But the approach that you have to adopt, like I said, is carrot and stick approach. While we are doing the military operations, that's what I mean, we now, all those who are ready to give up their arms and come to negotiate on the negotiation table, because some state governments try to do that, but they don't have the capacity to do it. The resources they need to do that, they don't have it. They cannot.
Senator, let me put out some figures for you. There are believed to be as many as 30,000 outlaws operating as different gangs of about 100 gangs of them in the northwestern region of the country operating as bandits. And they have as much as 2,000 fighters. And that's roughly the size of an army battalion. Now, if you look at that, since about 2015 or thereabout, almost 100,000 people have been killed by these people. Are this the same set of people that you think that the government should be negotiating with?
You see,
what would the negotiation be?
First of all, like I said, this problem has been there for a very long time. And the military and other security agencies have been working to solve the problem, and it is only increasing. And I believe that, like I said, because of the high level of poverty we have in the north, this problem will continue, because they will continue to recruit people. But I am sure with the new agenda of Mr. President, they renewed hope. Whenever you look at that document, it has a lot of provision for agricultural production, increased production, fiscal and monetary policies that will change the entire space of economic system of Nigeria. I'm sure by that time, by the time we start negotiating with them and bringing them into this cycle of development policy of the president, things will change. Some of them will give up, and the others who are not ready to give up their, criminal activities, they will face the wrath of the military.
So if you look at it, in Katsina, in Zamfara, and in a few other states, they've negotiated with bandits, but it has not worked.
I told you they don't have the capacity because the resources required. Otherwise, the Niger Delta would have been left to the states of the Niger Delta. But the federal government under President Umar Musa Yar'Adua came with massive resources and negotiated with them.
What kind of resources are you talking about?
I'm talking about, you see, you need to settle them, build, schools for them. These people, most of them are herders. And they don't have any animal today.
Are they Nigerians?
Most of them, majority of them are Nigerians.
But they say that, there are those who say that, look, in some part of Plateau State, that these people don't even speak any language.
You see, Fulani speaks languages that the Plateau people may not understand.
Are you saying that most of the bandits are Fulanis?
They have said it themselves. Most of them are Fulanis. They are herders. Most of them.
What is the reason for that, for their actions?
Because, like I said, it's poverty and ignorance. No educated person, whether Muslim or Christian or Jew or Hindu, who is properly educated, who is in his right state of mind, and has something to do, and he doesn't have, poverty problem that will take arm and then kill an innocent individual. So I'm telling you, the major problem that are facing these people has to do with poverty and ignorance. And if this issue has not been addressed by government, if it's not addressed by government, I don't think this problem will end.
All right, we take a break. We'll come back on discussing the way forward. I mean, you've been governor for 8 years in that state. You've been a senator in that state for another 2 terms. And you understand,
yes.
three times, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll be discussing more on the solutions and what the class of 1999 governors are doing, which you're a member of. We'll be coming back after this break, everyone. Join us again. Everyone for staying with us, and welcome back to the program. We've been speaking with former governor of Zamfara State, who has served 3 terms in the National Assembly, Senator Sani Ahmed Yerima. Thank you so much, Senator, for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
You said most of the bandits, or predominantly the bandits, are Fulanis, and you are of the view that whatever is their reason is about injustice.
Yeah.
You think that...
No, not only injustice, really, but criminality is a result of ignorance and poverty. You see, in the past, various state governments have not taken care of them. Their cattle routes and the forest reserve, left for them, have all been taken over by farmers now in the north. So even to move from north to south that they are normally doing annually is very difficult. That's why they always start having problem with the farmers. So this crisis started with the farmers Fulani clash, and then moved from that to cattle, wrestling, and then from cattle wrestling to armed banditry, because they started seeing that there are no more enough cattle for them to wrestle. So they started kidnapping people and asking for ransom.
Someone who is being a governor in that state, those who of the view that the discovery of natural resources in a state like Zamfara, such as gold and other mineral resources, is also one of the reasons. Is that true?
This has always been there, and the illegal mining that's going on is just of a very small scale. It's artisan mining. You don't have any industry, any large scale or even medium scale mining going on in the state. So people are just talking about it, but we have solid minerals in the entire northern part of Nigeria. But that's not the cause at all.
Because the governor
the artisan mining is not much. It's just very small area.
But there are large scale mining.
No, there is no large scale mining taking place in Zamfara.
Is mining still going on in Zamfara?
The federal government, previous administration, has banned, all sort of mining because they are all illegal. They didn't acquire, normal licenses that are supposed to be obtained. But all the same, some people are doing it. It's very small scale.
But this is what Governor Bello Matawale said. He said bandits are trading gold in exchange of firearms and other weapons.
No, I think he just said it because even the time I saw him presenting gold, Mr. President, I was shocked. Because why do you process that kind of gold in Nigeria? Why?
Zamfara does not have that kind of gold?
No, it's not being mined. There's nobody, no industry, no factory.
That you are aware of?
No, I don't have any information about that.
There are those who believe that, in fact, some foreigners, quietly or in some ways, come into Zamfara with aircraft, mine, and take gold out of the country.
These are all speculations. There is nothing like that.
That you are aware of?
No.
Some of politicians have been indicted, and the indictment comes from the accusation coming from, even in Zamfara, that those of you who have been in government before are culprits in some of these things, that what exactly are the problems. And that because of what is involved, that some of you are not able to speak up about it.
No, I assure you there is nothing going on as far as mining, large-scale mining in Zamfara is taking place, nothing. We have artificial mining, artisans that are going to it, versus villagers. But for a proper mining activity, It's a capital-intensive activity that requires, heavy investment, and nobody has gone to Zamfara to invest, enough resources to start that kind of mining.
How do you defend yourself, a part of the political class, who said give arms to some of these people during the elections and are unable to tame them after the election, and they use it against the people and kill the people of your state? How do you defend yourself?
There is nothing like that in Zamfara. Nobody, to the best of my knowledge, PDP or APC or AMPP or APP, or even AC or AD, whatever party you are, there has never been anybody, even these political thugs, I've never seen a case where anybody carry arm to fight another political party. There has never been such incidents in Zamfara.
Talk to us about Young Sakai, a vigilante group.
Yes.
Whose activities have also been flagged, and some of the Fulanis are also raised an alarm about the activities in Zamfara, saying they have been involved in extrajudicial activities against the Fulanis. Are you aware of it?
Yes. You see, when this problem started, like I told you, it started from farmer planning, clashes. Then at that time, the NSAK started mobilizing to go and defend the farmers. And in the end, governments came in and promote them, trying to, when the Fulanis started acquiring arms, to use them against the Fulanis. So they started attacking innocent Fulanis and those who are not even involved in banditry. They are in the cities, in the towns, villages, and they're attacked. And that's also encouraged the Fulanis to mobilize themselves and start attacking the Ansake, these vigilante people. I think, but now the situation has changed. The government has, the past government of Matawale, banned the issue of Ansake going to attack the Fulanis. As in that time, we started having, reduction in the level of clashes between the vigilante group and the Fulanis and others problem. Yes. But
you're aware that some of those bandits are collecting taxes in some parts?
Till today. I'm telling you, in fact, just last week, the former governor, Senator Yari, called me and told me that in his own local government, about 7 villages have been warned not to go to their farms until they mobilize 100 million naira to the bandits. So this is not a new thing. They are doing it, and military members are stationed. And you see, that is why I said, instead of you to, because the way things are going, as I told you, military has been fighting them for over 10 years now, and the situation is getting worse.
Do you know any of these bandits?
I don't. We see them on social media. They are not hidden. I don't know who go there to take them and then
you hear about
them. Yes,
Dogo Gide.
All of them are
because I mean
they're all on social media.
Yeah.
Yes, but I only see them on social media.
But on the ground, if you're asking the president to negotiate with them, are you willing to help to reach out to these people?
Of course, anything that will bring peace and stability in my state.
But if you don't know them, how do you help?
Once the previous negotiation that was called, they were only invited through the media, and they came. They came out, and the government, committee met with them and negotiated with them, but the government has no capacity to, the resources that is required to meet their demand, because one, they want education. Like I told you, they are all ignorant. They have high level of literacy. They say they want their schools for their children. They want business opportunities like every citizen in Nigeria, but the state government cannot afford to give that resources.
How do you weigh this? A group that the government has prescribed as a terrorist organization, and you're asking the government to negotiate with them. How do you balance
This is not the first time. It's the whole world, even America, Europe. You find people who are termed as terrorists. In the end, government negotiate with them. And look at Taliban. American government negotiated with them. The international community, yes.
Did they negotiate with Taliban?
They are still negotiating
with Taliban?
To have peace, yes. Not only to have peace. Peace has been brought to Afghanistan, But they are now talking about women's rights because they don't allow women to go, to acquire education, and it's still in the negotiating process. So I'm sure that negotiation is part of governance, to identify a problem, try to resolve it, either by use of force or by negotiation or in a combination of the two.
This group will ride on motorbikes into villages with arms like AK-47, sophisticated weapons, machetes. They will burn villages, burn hamlets, burn farms, kill people, maim them, steal from them. The first question will be, where do they get these ammunitions from? Who supply them? What is the fuel to their operation?
You see, this is an international problem. Wherever there are criminals, there are senior criminals that participate and encourage them also to benefit from supply of arms all over the world.
So there is an international dimension to this banditry?
Definitely there is, because they cannot just buy arms within Nigeria. There are people, in fact, just like Boko Haram. I have seen in television one day, one French citizen arrested in trying to negotiate and supply arms to the bandits. So they have it has international dimensions. That's why I said,
are these political
to negotiate. It's not only political. You see, they try to live on that. They cause crisis in countries of the world. Look at what is happening in Sudan today. They cause crisis in order to sell their arms. And that is how their own business, strive. They give them drugs. They sell drugs, these hard drugs to them. And the only thing we can do is to solve the problem. And that is the only way that these people will now leave Nigeria.
So how do you then, let's start with Zamfara.
Yeah.
You have said that negotiating with them, bringing them to the table.
Not only Zamfara. This has to be a wholesale activity. That's why I said the federal government has to do it by itself.
But there's not a unified body. There are diverse...
Set up a committee, you will see. By the time you set up a committee, and the federal government is very sincere about solving this problem, with the National Security Advisor, who is a Fulani man, I assure you that, yes, I'm sure this thing will be handled. He knows what to do to get this thing done.
Have you spoken to him?
I have not. In fact, just today I asked somebody to get me an appointment. I'm not going to congratulate him. I wanted to go and congratulate him, also discuss this issue with him, because it is bothering every citizen.
So he knows the plight of the Fulani people?
He knows.
And you said that the Fulanis are mostly the bandits are mostly
majority
Fulani.
of them, yeah, there are some other people, but majority of them are, Fulanis.
If you are to take up this task, where would you start from?
By making sure that an announcement is made, that the federal government has to give them timeline within which whoever wants amnesty to, stop what he's doing.
So you want federal government to announce an amnesty program?
Definitely it has to start. That's what Eradua did. He gave them 3 months to, lay down their arms and negotiate with government. And he told them that government is ready to take care of most of their problems. Like I said, in fact, the agenda of Mr. President, this renewed hope agenda, in that document, he has everything it takes to solve this problem in terms of agricultural production, in terms of education, in terms of, social welfare provision. If you look at that document, I'm sure with concerted effort and negotiation, this issue can be handled.
You and your colleagues in the 1999 class, you have been meeting. What is this about?
Well, we said that we should keep political affiliation apart, come together and support one of our own. Mr. President, Ashwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu was also part of us. He's a class of 1999, the SDF. We believe that this is our government and our country. So we should do everything possible to support them so that we can achieve
what exactly are you bringing to the table, you and your colleagues? Other than...
First of all, as political leaders of our various states, we have people who listen to us. We can help in mobilizing the people to support government policies and programs.
What do you think of the Bola Tinubu initial policies and initial days, first few days in office?
I think this is an excellent development for Nigeria. An excellent, even when I saw him the first day, I saw him delivering his speech, inaugural speech. and he said, subsidy is removed, subsidy is gone. He said, I felt that man is really interested in solving major problems
But
of
that
Nigeria.
policy, a lot of Nigerians are feeling the pinch now.
Yeah, it has
the
to.
The pains are there.
It has to. It has to. You see,
how do we take away the pains of the people?
Very soon.
How can the people of Nigeria's pains be alleviated with all of the... You say these policies are good, but then the people are suffering. How do they understand, the average Nigerians on the street?
That is the role that we are going to play as, his former colleagues, as governors of Class 99. Mobilizing people, explaining to them to be patient and pray for the president for good health and guidance of, God guidance. We believe that the package he has for Nigeria, you see, there has never been a time when a president, right from his campaign activities, is presenting himself to Nigeria with a document that this is what I want to do for you. This is the first time I've seen it. That Renewed Hope agenda is a very comprehensive document that contains not only fiscal and monetary policies that you need to implement, but all the social programs that will move this country forward and bring, development and social progress of Nigeria is contained in that document. So the implementation of that document requires the support of every Nigerian, and especially the mobilization, through the social media, domestic media, radio and television, and then the meetings that people are engaged in, various political meetings.
Yeah. You also told the president that you will help in resolving the political crisis in Zamfara. Your party lost in Zamfara state.
Yes. You see...
You feel disappointed about that?
Of course.
What is the cause?
When the PDP was campaigning after they won election, they put all our photographs because all the former governors were in APC, and all the same we lost because there was no coordination, proper coordination.
You didn't work with Governor Matawale?
No, the first election, we all participated, but the structure put in place did not carry everybody along. And one has to just do his best as an individual.
So you don't regret Matawale losing?
I regret it because I was part of the, loss, because I felt it.
Do you think you made some mistakes?
Yeah, of course, if there is no mistake, we would have won election.
All right. Let me close on these notes, and I'll close on the on a private personal level. On all of these, I'm hoping that the president will probably listen and take the best decision for Nigeria. But you still look very agile, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Would you take another wife, though?
No, I have 4 wives. In my religion, I'm titled to only 4 wives, yes.
So you're tired of taking a 15-year-old?
I have 4 wives.
Would you do that again if you had the opportunity to take a 15-year-old?
I don't think I will have opportunity because my age is now 63, and I believe that with 4 wives, even if one is gone, I can manage the 3, 2, or even 1.
You ban the sale and consumption of alcohol and prostitution statewide.
Yes.
In Zamfara, some people accuse you that you were caught drinking in London.
No, I've never tasted alcohol.
In your life?
In my life.
Senator Sani Ahmed Yerima, former governor of Zamfara State, thank you indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
but that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'll see you on Sunday at 8 p.m. Bye-bye, everyone.
Operating here for over 12 years, and the system of the road this time around, over 3 years now, is too bad. To the point that a place that will take us for 5 minutes, it will take us for 5 hours.
This project was awarded in 2018 by the federal government to the Dangote Group, which will start off at the Apapa Port Gate, Creek Road, Tinkan Island, Beachland, and run through the Oworun-Shoki to the Ojota Tollgate end of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It is going to be the first major reconstruction since it was built in 1975. Today, The Dangote Group, with its partners, are fixing the roads with a long-term objective in mind. The company opted for the Continuously Reinforced Concrete Pavement, CRCP, in simple terms, concrete road. When the road is fully constructed, it will have 10 lanes, 5 on both sides, including drainage, rehabilitation of some of the bridges, and interchanges.
The pavement is designed to be maintenance-free for a minimum period of 30 years.
This design, though expensive, though of higher cost, but do you know what? By the time we are through with what we are doing today, it will outlive you. Because we are thinking of more than 40 years of lifespan. Even when the underlying material now fails, for a very long time, the structure still remains.
What will it take to build these 30 kilometers of road? It starts with excavation of the old surface to reveal the kind of subgrade underneath. If the subgrade is satisfactory, then a stone base is brought in and spread over it with the grader. This process will continue until it reaches the required thickness of about 300 millimeters. After this comes the cement-treated base with an optimized 5% quantity of cement. By the time the road construction is complete, it would have consumed over 340,000 tons of stone aggregate, 75,000 tons of stone dust, and 220,000 tons of stone base. At this stage, the thickness of the road is about 500 millimeters thick, which is about 1.6 feet, and the mechanical broom prepares it for priming. Every action is meticulously planned. These Y20 steel will run all the way from Apapa to the old toll gate. The steel will serve as reinforcement for the concrete road. A total of 18,000 tons of steel will be used for this road. This is about 3 times the amount of steel used to build the Eiffel Tower of Paris.
The quality of steel that we make means that we can sell our steel across Africa and Europe without even it having to be tested.
We are doing concrete road, which will last for a much longer period. And we are doing 1.5 meter soil exchange, so the road will be very, very stable.
This road is just one out of several that are in the pipeline. And we're encouraging other people who are interested. You don't have to be a Dangote to make this investment.
The Dangote Group is indeed touching the lives of Nigerians in a way no other company has.